Well, where'd all you people come from? We don't get many visitors around here anymore. One or two on Memorial Day maybe, but that's usually about it. Well, every now and then people do get lost off the square and wander down here in the wilderness.
Well, speaking of that,
I'm glad to have some company. Now, I'm surrounded by plenty of people, but they don't talk much. I like to get up and wander around every now and then, but, you know, I walk down to the sidewalk and people run off. I just don't understand the whole thing. But let me tell you, let me introduce myself. Tell you a thing or two about me. My name is William Trabue. Now, before you jump in with both feet, let me tell you, Daniel Trabue is only my uncle. Okay? A lot of people try to hook me up with him all the time, and that is close. But I'm part of that other set, as we say. Now, I was born in 1795, so that gives you a little idea how old I really am. And I was not born in Adair County, because there was no Adair County. It was Greene County then. I was born March 7th, 1795. And my parents, my dad was a brother of Daniel Trabue. His name was Stephen. And my mother was one of those Haskin girls. Now, if you know about Colonel Haskin, lived out Skin House Branch, old Revolutionary War soldier. He brought his whole family. And that meant several Trabues, because 3 Trabue brothers married 3 Haskin sisters. So I've got double first cousins all over the place, even here. But they came here to settle permanently in 1795, the same year I was born. And I spent my whole life right here. By the time I married in 1816, I've lived within 3 miles of the public square of Columbia, and still here today. Now, some of you might know my house out yonder called Willow Glen. Now, there's that new bypass thing out there, and you can see it when you go around. It's that big old house over there by the little pond. That was my house, and I built it in the 1830s or thereabouts. I forget. I did a lot of work around this town in those days. But I married. My wives are both married here. I don't know who put this up. It's awful heavy. It's got me on the front and my wives on each side. Both my wives were Elizabeth. Now, the first one was Elizabeth McDowell. Her father was a doctor. She was born in 1801, and I married her when she was 15. She was almost a spinster, but they finally pawned her off on me, and I married her. We had 4 children. Now, she only lived to be 30 years old. But you got to understand, women in that day and time having babies, it was lethal. And when she had our 4th child, she never did recover. Little William's buried over on the other side there. I hated to lose her. She was a wonderful young lady. And I wouldn't have married again, but I had young children. And I was a farmer, and I had to get out in the field and work. And I didn't have anybody else. So I found me another woman. Another Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth McDowell came from a good, well-to-do family. Her dad was a doctor. Of course, they didn't get paid much back then, but it doesn't matter. She was a niece of Ephraim McDowell up in Danville. You may have heard of him. You know, the famous surgeon. Worked on James Todd Crawford. Lifesaver. My second wife was also Elizabeth. Elizabeth Haskins Cowell. Now, not Caldwell. They'd slap you upside the face if you say Caldwell. It was Cowell. And she wasn't a Haskins. before she married. That was her middle name. Now, her parents are buried right there. My second wife, William Coyle, and his wife, Nancy Anna Trabue. My aunt. We weren't that close to them. But William Coyle was first county and circuit clerk of Adair County and served as such for 49 years. Wouldn't have quit then, but they changed the Constitution on him when you had to. Well, we turned around and had 8 children. And among those, we had a doctor that we named Benjamin McDowell, after my first father-in-law. Now, he went out to Todd County, lived out there, 90-some years old when he died. My children who stayed here were all unmarried. I had 3 daughters and a son. Now, he died kind of young. He buried over here. But my 3 girls were all school teachers for decades. And the last one didn't die till 1929, as Miss Tilly, as everybody calls her, Matilda Jane. She was quite a character. And her claim to fame is she was an artist as well as a teacher. And she taught art classes at Willow Glen until at least 1925. And some of them were for Lindsay Wilson, but she didn't have to go up there. They came out there with her. Unusual, nothing. Well, I'll tell you too much. But I believe in education. I was a stockholder in the male and female college, which became the male and female high school and grade school, which became Columbia High School and grade school. I sent all my children to school. They all had book learning much more than I did. But I was going to see to it that had. And I was a Baptist. Now, my Uncle Daniel and Aunt Mary were among the founding members of the Columbia Baptist Church. And we always attended there. We were members there all our lives. Now, when I died, and we all knew, in 1856, they had a big turnout for my funeral, I hear. And my young'uns and great young'uns, and there's plenty of them, none of them live here. They're all in far-flung places, are largely still Baptist. Well, I'll leave you with that. Y'all come again, you hear? I like to come.